You are listening to the Mindset Forge podcast, where I interview athletes and performing artists and how they show up to the big moments of their lives. In sports and in performance, there is a way that you have to be present and show up prepared for that moment that I think we can all learn something from. So I interview these people, really digging into their lives, what they've gone through, and how they show up, how they prepare, and how they are in the moment so that we can take some of those ideas and implement them in our own lives. Because I want to help you guys be better at just showing up for all the best things of your life. In this episode, I interviewed my first fitness coach, Sarah Malone. Her life work is very similar to mine. We talk about training people, becoming the best version of ourselves as athletes, and the way that she helps people move past fear to find purpose, drive, and energy to live their best and healthiest life. What I love too, and you'll find in this story, is when she tells her story. She really uses the challenges and the struggles that she has as kindling for how she sparks her mission, her passion, and all the energy that she has today in fulfilling her purpose to get people to fall in love with fitness. And you can hear it in her voice. So sit back and enjoy it. Here we go with Sarah Malone in the Mindset Forge podcast. All right, Sarah, great to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm fabulous. How are you, Barton?
I'm great. So we are both trainers, both athletes, both in the fitness industry, both have podcasts, lots of commonality here. Looking forward to this interview because I think we can just go so many places with the point and the purpose really to help people understand how connected mindset, fitness, lifestyle, just all of the things need to align and how we can help them kind of understand maybe the bigger picture on how it works, how it doesn't work. And help people not run down those rabbit holes of like chasing things that are in the immediate future that long term are going to really mess them up.
I love all of those things. Everybody's looking for what's the answer now? How do I get X right now? And then all of a sudden this new science comes out about carbs are bad. And we're just going to cling on to that as if that is the answer. And I can just do this now and get this result. And then I'll be happy.
In a previous podcast, Bethany really talked about the problems of like those types of fads and how they can wreak havoc on, your body if you're an athlete or just a person trying to be healthy. I think that's one of the hardest things with a client coming to myself or to you is they have a goal. Oftentimes it's a wedding, it's a trip to Cancun, it's some event that they want to be lean and beautiful for, and they want your help. They're willing to pay a lot of money to you or to myself to get them there, right? And we have to take that information, say, we got you, come with me. Like, we're going to lead you in that direction. But we also understand that, like, it's not about that finite goal of like putting on your bikini or putting on your swim trunks and looking like $1 million. It's so much more.
So much more.
So talk about an example. Let's say somebody like that comes up to you and says, Sarah, I want to work with you. I'd really like to get your help. I've got this event 3 months out, will you help me drop some body fat and look great in a bikini? What are some of the mindset aspects of that are you trying to figure out?
Yeah, because here's the thing is they come into it with that date or that event that they want. But like you said, we both know it's so much more than that. And so for me, I can't tell them that. But I do that by asking a ton of questions. And then I probe them to painting that picture for me. So for instance, some questions I'll ask would be, let's say you achieve that goal, you're exactly where you want to be, everything's perfect. What does that look like for you and how do you feel there? And so this gives me the opportunity to understand what the feeling is that they're looking for. Most of the time it's, well, I'm just going to be so confident. Like it's always confidence, energy, and freedom. Because so many people are like, I just don't want to go to this wedding and be thinking about how I move and how I look this way and how I look that way and how I look in pictures and the uncomfortability of how I feel in my skin. Because the problem is, if I'm just chasing a target, what happens after I reach that target? Or maybe I don't even reach the target that I thought that I wanted in the first place because that changes along the way. How do we get associating quality of mind and emotional and mental health with this physical goal? Because it's not 20 pounds they want to lose. It's not looking good in a wedding dress. It's confidence, energy, and freedom in their body. So when they're saying this, when I don't have to tell you all of that. I just asked a couple of questions and you just told me that.
So you're getting at the root of what they're really missing.
Exactly. And I used to ask this question, Barton, and it never made sense to people. I would always say, what do you feel like you're missing, having not achieved this goal? And they're like, well, I don't think I'm missing anything. Like I have a pretty good life. I'm like, no, you're missing it. Like, what are you desiring more of out of accomplishing this? Because you're obviously missing something and you want more of it. And then I always ask this question too. This is the zinger. Why now? What made it so important right now that you're reaching out? And this is when like people can get really real with me, because then they'll go, I had a moment where I went to tie my shoes or something and I couldn't reach down to tie my shoes. And I just thought that's enough. So that's when it gives them and you the opportunity to see, where was that threshold?
That sometimes can be for them in their mind, their psyche. It's like, I'm too this. I'm too much. I've gone too far.
Yes.
I need help.
Yes.
I need to reach out to Sarah. I need to go find somebody.
Yes.
Sarah, talk about the journey that you want to take people on. What's an ideal journey? It's not a timed, they're not just signing up for 3 months. They want to work with you. You're going to help them get to a better place. What's that journey look like? And what are you trying to achieve? Not just with the fitness aspect of it, but with the mindset and all that.
Yeah. Oh God, what a great question. I don't think anyone has ever asked me that question before, Barton. I love that question because my goal is to make them fall in love with fitness. But my why for that is because I truly believe that when people love fitness and they implement it in their life as a lifestyle, they discover so much about themselves and they become more of who they were created to be. Like that's the big, audacious goal, I guess. That's the mission. But how I get them to do that is not by giving a cookie cutter program to anybody. If I'm taking a 63-year-old woman and we got to make her fall in love with fitness, well, then she can't come in here and break her body and feel in pain all the time. Like she has to work her way into it to where she gets just enough, but like not too much, where she was like, wow, I'm a badass. I'm 63 years old and I just came in here and I crushed it and I feel good about that. It is a science of associating those positive emotions with what they're doing. And then I get a client who's, 32, my age, and they're like my personality, where they just want to crush shit all the time. Well, then I'm giving you my advanced athlete program and we're going to, so you can come in here and every time you feel like you're crushing shit, now that person's going back out into the world in a better state than when they walked in.
Well, and for that athlete, you're also probably giving them more of a holistic perspective on like, you can't just crush it every single day.
Yes.
We've got to understand recovery. We've got to understand nutrition. We've got to get the bigger picture so that you can have a long history of like success in working out and fitness and all those things.
Yeah, longevity is huge too, because if we can get you to fall in love with it and have longevity with it, well, that's the whole purpose of fitness, isn't it? Lengthening our quality of life and trying to live the highest quality of life as long as possible. Yeah, I think that's what we came here to do.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people want to turn on fitness and turn it off again. Going back to the wedding. I got a wedding. I got to turn on this fitness thing for a couple of months, lose weight, and then turn it off again and relax. Because Christmas is coming and I don't want to care about my diet.
You just hit it. Oh my God, that is it. That's it. That's the difference between people who, wow, you know what? That mindset of like black and white, or they're on or they're off, or I'm on vacation or I'm not on vacation. It's like, oh, that's so true. So looking at fitness as a lifestyle and a constant and ever flowing journey, that's a different mindset. Because then I'm thinking, well, if I'm on vacation, how can I implement my fitness lifestyle into a vacation? Maybe it looks totally different than what I was doing back home, but I can still do it. And we both know momentum is everything. Every time you break momentum and then stall in getting back, I hate this phrase, but back on the train, it becomes harder and harder. Just because we have to switch paces or switch gears does not mean we're going to break momentum. We're still keeping it's the main priority.
Going back to the point you just made, if they're getting beat down at the gym and they're not feeling good about their success because as a trainer, we're not leading them well and we're not showing them little successes and making their body feel better, then there's no way when they're on vacation, they're ever going to go show up at a gym or go on a run or do a hike, or because they're attributing fitness with pain and suffering and not the real, what fitness can be, which is like a feeling of confidence and like, I did that. I got a sense of pride, a sense of just like, man, I could do that if I wanted to.
Yes.
That confidence that comes from moving things, from lifting weights. Like just doing manual labor. I mean,
okay, there you go.
Manual labor.
You just said it. So you just said they're building this confidence of, wow, I can do that. So if you're consistently planting in your brain, wow, I can do that. Well, then you go out into the real world where you've got business or parenting or whatever else is coming at you, and you've conditioned in yourself, wow, I can do that. How many more risks are you going to take? Or how many more or opportunities are you going to snatch up when they come along? Because you know in your soul, you know you're physically capable of a lot, but that's just rewiring you to think, I can do that. So this is what I mean, how like that fitness part transfers over to life, because you're every day going in there, doing hard things, growing, learning, getting more in tune with yourself, to where you step into that person and then you step out into the world to say, I can do that.
One of the things I've been really checking out recently is Mantra Labs Rest Formula. It's a right before bedtime elixir that you take with either hot or cold water. Rest contains some science-backed ingredients that will help you fall asleep, relax, and stay asleep. Because you might get 8 hours of sleep, but if you're waking up constantly through the night, it's not great sleep. And it's so important to get into that deep REM sleep and recover and get our bodies ready for the next day. Man, I've slept so well. I'm still getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, so that's absolutely important, but I'm also getting deeper sleep. I have absolutely noticed a difference in how deep I sleep, how restful I feel. So if you're looking to maximize your sleep for recovery and just state of mind, check out Mantra Labs' Rest Formula. Go to gomantralabs.com, use Mindset Forge to get 25% off all the products. And while you're there, check out Hydrate, Rise, Go, all of their products. They're fantastic stuff. Everything's science-backed. Here in Austin, Texas is a local company, and I support them. They're doing an awesome job keeping people healthy. All right, back to the podcast. And this is where our job is so important. I think I see so many trainers that are just kind of willy-nilly making people do exercises. Well, that's a good exercise. Hey, that works the core. Hey, that works the legs. But there's no real rhyme or reason to a progressive overload. Okay, we're doing squats. Every week, you're adding 1 rep here. We're going to add 5 pounds 3 weeks from now. 3 months from now, we're 20 pounds up on our squat.
Yep.
That's progress. You should be proud. So this is where trainers can really, and then athletes who are training themselves in a sense, we really have to understand if there's not a true progressive approach to what we're helping them do, then it's hard for them to really hang their hat on the accomplishments and on that confidence to say, you know what? Like today, I trained a guy who did his max bench in February was 165 times 1. He did it for sets of 6 today. Yeah. He knows that happened. And so he's walking around with his chest high. He's feeling great because he just saw, I went from 1 rep, max out. Now I'm doing sets of 6 with it.
Yes. And I'll share another client win. I just had a girl. She was, I think 5 or 6 months ago, was 135 on bench for 2. And she just put up 160 for 3. You know, that's a huge freaking win for her. So that progressive model, it's the same thing that I do with myself. Now, I train off of the National Academy of Sports Medicine OPT model, which is progressive in and of itself. Yeah. There's certain phases that you take them through, right? Stabilization, endurance, strength endurance, and then hypertrophy, which for those listeners that don't know, hypertrophy is literally muscle size. And then for my advanced athletes, we go through the power phase, and that's the best phase ever. But anyways, I see people just getting like inhumanely strong on this phase, and I'm so proud of it. I love that phase so much, but not everybody needs to go through that because it's goal specific. But going back to your progressive model, it's like, okay, if I'm going to get somebody to do something, it's my job as a coach to set them up for success for that. If you come in and you say, I have a squat goal, then it's my job to say, here is the lead up in order to get you to that goal. And then explain that to you. Why am I doing it this way? Well, because X, Y, and Z. Because we need your muscles to be able to fire. We need your core to be strong. We need your stabilization to be strong, those connective tissues, or else if you go to put up that weight in 2 weeks, I can get you there in 2 weeks, trainers promising all of these audacious goals to be accomplished in such a short time frame, then you pull out your shoulder or you get injured. And now what good are you? Now you're on the bench for, 6 weeks trying to recover so that you can come back after that goal. What's the point of that?
People just don't understand that they can't go from 0 to 100. Like how many people go hey, I need to get in shape. And I go from never doing anything, lunges, squats, I don't even walk. And then I'm running for 2 miles. And then I don't understand why my hamstring is jacked up. My low back is all messed up. Like you went from not doing anything to running for 2 miles.
Yeah.
And you're not expecting an injury.
And they're confused. Yeah. Or let's talk about the mental burnout. They go from doing nothing and then they're like, I can work out every day. I'm like, that's not a good idea. And then they do that for that short burst. Life is a marathon. So is fitness. We can't come in here after not doing anything for however long, sometimes your entire life, and then say, well, so-and-so works out 5 days a week and they eat on this meal plan. I should do that too. No, you shouldn't. You should do whatever is going to be sustainable and enjoyable for you right now. Now, $20 says that person's going to want more later. And they always do. Yeah. I had a client come in and she's like, I'm just going to be honest with you. I hate working out. I know I need to do it for my health. I'm like, can you commit to 3 days a week? She could. I give you 3 months before you're asking for more workouts. And I'll just leave that there. She's like, yeah, okay. Mark my words, Barton, 3 months later, she's like, I think I want to move it up to 5 days. I really enjoy it. It's like routine for me. And I'm like, told you so, because it is. It becomes routine. It becomes something that you crave. Because every time you're in there, physiologically, you're releasing all of these endorphins. But also mentally, it's a place where you can go to discover yourself.
There's so much discovery in just, you got a goal, you got something that might scare you, like a heavy squat, deadlift, a bench press, just a lot of burpees, something like that. Like you got to go be right with yourself, show up and do a good job. And fail or succeed, reality right there, giving you feedback. Did I do well? How can I do better? And you've got a coach right there saying, hey, let's tweak this. Let's do this. I want to talk about you as an athlete for right now. Talk about what your goals are, just so we have a bigger, broader picture of like you as an athlete so that we have a better understanding of you as a coach.
Okay. Right now, the one word that comes to mind that describes my athletic ventures right now is warrior. I'm so committed to building my body to be its strongest and most athletic self ever. Right now, I'm actually gearing up for another photo shoot because as an athlete, you always have to have goals, right? I just crushed a lot of performance goals. So I'm easing up on my body a little bit and going for more, like we were just talking about, longevity. But the main purpose is because I want to be a beacon of strength for females and for people in general. So my photo shoot is to showcase that, and then also to hopefully be on the cover of Fitness magazine to broadcast this even more, to show how we can use our bodies. I firmly believe that the state of our bodies represents the state of our inner being and that strength there. I test the limits of my body every day in some way. And if it's not strength, it's going to be endurance. If it's not endurance, it's going to be the stimulation of that mind-body connection.
So take us into some of the sets and reps. Like what are you up to?
Perfect.
Give us a little deep dive behind the curtain.
Right. So I just took myself out of an extremely intense phase of power phase, Olympic lifting. I'll talk about that phase. So the power phase for me is all performance. And it rapidly changes your body composition too, but it's a superset of a strength and then a power exercise. So how I structure that is a push and a pull movement. So, and then a pull and a push movement. So I break it down. If I'm going to do a strength push day, I would superset that with a power pull movement. Give you an example. Strength push would be a barbell bench press, 1 to 5 reps. So you're really maxing the strength there. Superset with a overhead ball slam for a power back movement because you're using your lats, 8 to 10 reps. The stimulation on the body and your strength increase in this phase is crazy. It goes through the roof. So I would structure that. Then we do a shoulder press after that, 1 to 5 reps, superset with a cable pullover, power exercise, 8 to 10 reps. So I just came out of that phase and I'm developing a new program back in the stabilization endurance phase of the OPT model, which is 12 to 20 reps of everything. This is literally just to get that nervous system strengthened again. So I'm doing a push-pull combo. I will do a push-pull day, a back and biceps day, a legs day, and then a shoulders and triceps day, and then a pull-push day. So you're really kind of hitting all these body parts multiple times throughout the week, just in different ways, so you're not putting too much strain on the joints. And everything is 12 to 20 reps. Now, my secret sauce is 15 reps. There's something magical about 15 reps. So if I can go more than that, I'll go up in weight. It's like as soon as I go past 12 reps, something clicks. And I do think it's physiological because you're tapping into a different kind of energy system.
Yeah.
So I just know my body's like, okay, we're over 12 reps. So you can feel it. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I'm going for more body composition. I'm trying to reduce my body fat and get a more athletic and aesthetic look for the photo shoot.
Got the photo shoot. You're talking about kind of representing kind of powerful women and how the body and the soul, everything's kind of connected.
Yeah.
Where does that all come from for you? How did you come to this place? What are some of the big linchpins that kind of created this powerful, driven 32-year-old woman who's trying to change the world?
Whoa. I didn't know we were going to go there, Barton. Really quick before we get into that, I want to segue back. Sure. One thing that I'm determined to do too in this, body goal of the photo shoot and the cover of the magazines, I refuse to compromise performance. I firmly believe these people that go on restrictive diets and they get ready for shows and they do all these things and they're miserable. I think that that's a limiting belief. I think I've carried 13, 14% body fat, which is extremely low for a female, and had insanely high energy and performance. So I refuse to compromise one for the other because I think you can have both. That is another thing that I talk about and I like to demonstrate by how I practice what I preach. I'm going to eat clean. I'm going to eat like a warrior. I'm going to train like a warrior and I'm going to look like a warrior. And then I'm going to have a big smile on my face while I do it. Okay.
You're actually going to be happy. And
yeah. Oh my God. Right. Go figure. And I'm actually alive. Yeah. So, okay. As a young girl, my story, I battled years with an eating disorder. To me, I call that I was locked in those chains for many, many years. Just the obsession with restricting and that sickness in and of itself. And when I was introduced to fitness, I was actually introduced by an ex-boyfriend who was abusive mentally, emotionally, sexually in some ways. And, he would just plant these little seeds about how I should look this way and I should be like this fitness person. So I actually got into fitness as a segue from one eating disorder basically to the next. And I used fitness as my excuse to say, well, see, now I'm just doing this, but in a healthy way. So it was a mask for me. I call these little moments in my life kindling to the fire. Then I got into bodybuilding, and bodybuilding I thought would be my way to show the world what's up. Like I told you so, I could do it type of thing. When I got out of that relationship, I went into bodybuilding. Again, another eating disorder, a sickness for me. I do realize that some people can do this in a healthy way. I couldn't, and it was not enjoyable for me. Where I did actually fall in love with fitness, I began to hate it. And I thought to myself, why am I doing this? This is making me hate the very outlet that I have come to love. And so I quit bodybuilding. But in bodybuilding is where I met my ex-husband. We were married for 5 years. And here is where I'm going to kind of wrap this up. And this is the spark that lit all that kindling in flames to where you find me sitting in front of you today. That marriage was rough for me because it was a narcissistic relationship and very damaging to me, but I didn't realize it for 5 years. Like I was in this fog of manipulation, and we were in fitness together. We actually had a fitness coaching company, ironically. And everything just kind of came to a head for me. I was like, this isn't the life that I'm called to live. Like, I feel like there's so much more for me out there. There's this firecracker in here that just can't come out here. This isn't the atmosphere to do that. I cannot be who I'm supposed to be here. And I've always used fitness as a tool for that. And I finally got to a place where I was like, screw it. Why don't you just find out what your body is capable of and then see what it begins to look like? Like, take the restrictions of your own blueprint out of it, find out what your body's capable of, and then go there.
Fitness can be so destructive, and it can be just so replenishing. It can create new birth, or it can continue to destroy somebody based on their relationship with working out, with fitness, with food.
Yes, absolutely. And for me, now I will say this, just going back, in that marriage is where I did come back to finding the freedom there, because I was like, screw this. I'm just going to ditch all old plans, all old beliefs, and rediscover and find out what my body is capable of. So coming from there, then The spark for me was needing to get a divorce, needing to leave that relationship so that I could become who I was supposed to be. And from there, it became my mission, going through an eating disorder, going through abusive relationships, going through all these chained events, and having fitness be the one place where I was like, felt unleashed every part of my being. That's where you find me today, of being this person who's madly on a mission to use our bodies to make the world a better place because of who we're becoming.
And because you went through all of those phases and had to learn those lessons, you really, like, you have been through so much to earn that power and that passion for what you're doing. If you have 1,000 women in an auditorium, you have a mic, you're on stage right now, what are you telling them to inspire them to be their most powerful selves?
Oh my gosh. You just touched on something that's very sensitive for me in a great way, because this is exactly what I want to do. I would tell them that they are absolutely capable of, all of us, Barton, I think we feel that we're made for something special, and we are. And I would tell them to go find that. Get curious. Go find out what you're capable of, because 9 times out of 10, it is 1,000 times more than you thought, than you could even think that it is. Use your bodies as a tool. Get in tune with yourself. Fall in love with yourself to bring that person out into the world. There is nothing holding you back but the limits that you see in your mind. When you can practice the breaking through of that, you will become anything you set your mind to. And don't let anybody or anything else hold that person down or diminish that flame, ever.
Especially the guy that's supposed to love you.
Yeah, especially in a relationship, because that's the place you're supposed to go to get fuel too.
So there's a whole industry out there called self-help, which is really trying to help people learn how to do just that. And there's millions of books, and there's millions of podcasts, and there's millions of all these things. But when it comes down to it, it's the day-to-day risk, obstacles, challenges, like self-care. That's such a big part of how you, as a trainer, as a lifestyle coach, can help somebody actually get there. You can see somebody like Tony Robbins get so fired up and, just like, and then you come home and you're like, oh, I'm just me again.
Back to real life. Back to reality.
Real life.
Yep.
As a trainer, as a coach, what do you see as like the things that you need to make sure these people are going through on a daily basis so that they can start to realize their true power?
Oh my God. The first one is just doing it. You have got to get your body involved, because everything starts with your
show up.
Just freaking show up, do the work. It's really that simple, and it's that complex at the same time. But going back to momentum, starting is the hardest part. If routine, just find something consistent for you. You have got to move that body every single day. Body in motion stays in motion. Body at rest stays at rest. Same thing with the mind. But everything starts with your physical state. You can literally change your mind, change your DNA by moving your body. This is going to look different for most people, but you have got to show up. I don't care. We'll talk about nutrition later. We'll talk about the X's and O's later. Get up, do your exercise. And I recommend doing it in the morning. I really firmly do. I know everyone's like, well, I'm just...
Talk about that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way, but I'd love to hear your perspective on why the morning matters.
The morning is so important because, I mean, how many times have we heard it said the morning sets the pace of the day? And it does. Picture this. If the beginning of your day, you're getting up, you're basically staking a claim to say, I have control over the day, because you choose to use that time in the morning to get your body active, which is the best thing you could do for yourself. Now let's just name the obvious effects of exercise, which is higher energy, more clarity. You feel happier afterwards. You feel a little bit less stressed. You do feel more organized. Scientifically, people have shown that people who exercise are more organized and they're more clear in their thoughts. Who do you think is going to show up at work or with the family when you've just done that first thing in the morning? You've just communicated to the world and to yourself, I'm in control of the day. I do good things. I do hard things. Here I am. Let's freaking go.
You know, if you have a choice on when you can work out, before you go off to work, before your day begins, like go take, even if that's a 30-minute walk, anything you can do to move your body, get your blood flowing.
I'm going to tell you,
But in the end, if you work out at all, it's better than not. So if you can't get the morning, get a workout in at some point, my goodness.
Yes. And I'm gonna go one deeper on that and say I think that the morning workout for me is so important, Barton, that as I've grown my business and just my life has shifted, I started taking on earlier clients. And what that meant for me then was I'm so committed and dedicated to me getting my workout in before I approach clients that now I get up every day at 4 a.m. And at some points I was getting up at 3:30 because it's that important for me. And I notice a difference. I don't work out in the morning before I go into my clients. I am, for my standards, lackluster. I'm way less energy. I'm not bringing the same human to these people. And that's important to me because I feel like I'm my best self when I could do that. So I will rearrange my entire schedule in my life just to make that happen.
Well, that's a high-powered mindset because what you're saying is like you understand that the levels of your power and potential as an influencer of other people and how you can really motivate. And you realize that, yeah, a little bit of that less sleep, maybe go to bed a little bit early. But if I can get my workout in 4 a.m. so that I show up at 5:30 for my client and I am like a beacon of light, then you're even better. That's not somebody who's reactive. That's somebody who's very proactive. You're like, I'm going to be my best self every day. Here's how I do that.
Yeah. And guys, you taking care of you is not selfish. Actually, one of the most selfless things you can do. Because if you're not putting your health and your, people are like, oh, I feel guilty for working out. That's the opposite of the mindset you should have because it's not just about your working out just to have a certain body. If it were, okay, then that would be selfish. But your health and your fitness contributes to your confidence and your happiness in yourself. And a confident and happy in themselves person is going to bring the best person to those others. So if your goal really is to say, well, I care about everybody else, if your goal really is that, if that's really who you are, then you will put yourself first, specifically your health and your fitness.
Certain people, like they tend to just others first. And that's a really great way to be because there's a lot of really selfish people out there. And so we want to be clear that like, it's good that you want to be others focused, but your point is really right on. It's like, we have to though, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself or you put it on your kids to use that classic analogy. If we can fill ourselves up with passion, just think about exercise, confidence boost, passion boost. Just filling your body with the juice that you're going to be able to take to your day and give to others. Mm-hmm. It's a very different approach to how you look at exercise. Case in point, what you're doing, working out early so you can bring your best to other people.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the future. I think there's some people that like fitness becomes a part of their life. It's a means to an end with, kind of just living their best life and all the things that they want. And I think that's what most people find fitness for. And you're trying to help people find that lifestyle of like, if I work out, if it's a part of my lifestyle. One of my favorite moments is when somebody shows up to a workout on their birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because they're saying it's my birthday. Hey, that's the best day of the year to just, I'm not working out.
Yeah.
They show up on their birthday, bam. They've got the right mindset around what fitness is for them.
That's a good point.
So we want to help people just generally make fitness a priority in their lives. But some people, like you, take fitness and they're like, this is the vehicle in which I can max out your potential, your passion, your drive to really be as helpful as possible to other people. So project into the future, your vision, how are you as an athlete, as a trainer, as an entrepreneur, how are you kind of looking to max out your impact on other people?
Oh, great question. So there's two parts to my business. Like we talked about, fitness and mindset for me go hand in hand. I love the mindset part because it's how I've learned. I started in fitness. It led me to personal growth and personal power. We've talked about this. Tony Robbins, Ed Milet, Brendon Burchard, they're all mentors of mine in some way, shape, or form. And so because of how I see these two so tying together and how I think actually one leads to the other and it just changes your life, I do the fitness side. I also do the mindset side. I do that through the mastermind that I have. So it's an 8-week seminar course that I teach using the tools from Tony Robbins, Brendon Burchard, even Brene Brown in some ways. And it's all designed to get people super clear on their goals, what's important to them, identify that, focus on where they want to go, putting a strategy around that, helping them understand their needs, their human needs, and then putting habits in place around those. 99.9% of people that go into that mastermind have health as one of their top 5 most important categories of life because they know how important it is. And so the goal of the mastermind is to put habits and actions and new behaviors and eliminate fears and limiting beliefs around those. And then by the end of it, they come out with a vision board and a clear path forward, and then an exit strategy of follow-ups out of that. Most of them are already clients, but I have a lot of outsiders too. So grand scheme of things, what I'd really like to do to make a massive impact in this world is travel and do these seminars and teach these courses in schools, because our youth is the future of our world. And if we can't get our youth to understand the importance of physical health and then getting in tune with what is my purpose? If everybody was clear on their purpose in life, what kind of a world would we live in? It is my belief that that all starts with your physical state.
You mentioned momentum, and I think so many people get stuck, whether it's in childhood, adolescence, 20s, 30s, 40s, who knows? But people get stuck. They get kind of stuck in the mud. They don't know how to move forward. They don't know how to create momentum. And that's oftentimes where someone like you has to come in and kind of help them visualize, move forward. I love vision boards, and I think everyone does it a little bit differently. Tell my listener kind of what's an example of a vision board that you would help somebody create?
Yeah. Okay. So there's, per Brennan Burchard, there's 10 categories of life. What I like to do is kind of chunk that down, and I help them identify, like, what's your 3 to 5 most important priorities that you're focused on really improving right now? And then setting goals in each of those. So an example of vision board would be the top 3 to 5 categories of life that are the most important. What an exercise I take my mastermind participants through is called the triad, where they develop a power name for that category. So I'll give you an example. A power name for my career category for coach is Mama Spark. because like I'm Mama Spark, I'm leading these people, So when I tell myself, Mama Spark, this is the role that you're stepping into right now before I'm about to be with a client, then I just show up. I like know exactly where to go. For me, that's instantaneous. So it's something that resonates with them. So it's goal, role, power name. And then it's the goal that they have for that. And I like to make it uber specific. So goal and a time frame. By when? When do you want to buy this house? When do you want to be on the cover of a fitness magazine? And then on the other side, there's pictures. Printing out the pictures so that it's something that resonates with them. So where when they see that, they're connected to it. They're drawn to it and it inspires them.
We'll drop some information in the show notes on just how to kind of link up with you, obviously following you on Instagram, and more information about you, training with you virtually or mastermind and how that works.
Yeah, like with all this COVID stuff, I learned how to get real savvy with the virtual. I have clients all the way in Canada. I have an app and I train them all there, and they're locked and loaded. They've never had more structure in their life, or I'll Zoom sessions right there in their home with them.
This whole COVID thing has really helped to get us used to the connection over internet and making that work. Virtual workouts, virtual personal training. It's all just part of our menu of things that we can offer people across the world.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Last but not least, what's a dream of yours physically? I mean, you want to be this absolute, just warrior athlete. Project that somewhere. Like, where you want to go with that? Is there a competition that you want to be a part of? Is there a race you want to do? Is there a obstacle course? What's that place you want to go to kind of achieve something, or to go all the way with your fitness?
Okay. I just came out of CrossFit. I was huge into wanting to be in CrossFit Games. It doesn't align with my lifestyle and my coaching. So I always...
Tell me why.
Because in order for me to chase that goal, Barton, my life would have to go like this. I'd have to shift a lot. And I spend the majority of my time building my business, building my clients, and then, podcasting and these types of things. And I have 2 hours a day to train. I would have to completely...
Not 5 to 6?
No. Yeah. I just don't have the capacity, I'm not at that place. So it was putting a lot of stress and pressure on me. What I actually have my eyes on right now is, do you know The Rock's show? It's basically like a little gladiator show. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
He's had a couple that have come out lately. There was a couple, I don't know which one kind of made it, But it's kind of an American Gladiator kind of spin-off concept.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So that's where that's what I have. Physically wise, like performance wise, that's where I find myself. American Ninja Warrior, what used to be a thing, but it's too it's not warrior enough for me.
It's very much like tactical rock climbing. Like I actually interviewed a guy, Jonathan Parr, is a physical therapist who was on the American Ninja Warrior and went to the finals and all that kind of stuff. And he was talking about it. It's kind of meant for specific type of athletes.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like American Gladiators, my boot camp company that I work for, it's called Camp Gladiator. And the CEO, Allie Davison, won American Gladiator, the TV show in 2008.
Oh, wow.
Which is how she took that 15 minutes of fame and is like, I got to start something. And we came up with Camp Gladiator and all this kind of stuff. So there's this kind of like connection with that whole, and I loved that growing up. I remember in the 90s, I'm old enough to remember the early shows in the 90s.
Oh God, those were the best.
All the original Gladiators and all that fun stuff. And so I love it. And then you have a personality that probably should be on TV. And I think that's the other thing I'll say about that is there's being an athlete, but there's also the presentation of a warrior that I think you could totally pull off.
Oh, thanks so much. I appreciate that. What a huge compliment.
All right, so you and we share a love for podcasting, and you have your own podcast. So I want to hear more about your podcast, but also why you love the kind of medium so much.
All right, so my podcast is called Ignite the Spark Within. It's basically a platform where I'm able to step into and talk about these deeper mindset parts that I'm not able to really connect with all my clients. I have a lot of clients, and so it's hard to bring these types of thought-provoking topics to each and every individual one of them. So this was actually started so that I could do this on a bigger platform and have a bigger impact, right? Spread my wings a little bit. I fell in love with it, Barton, because for me, getting this stuff out in the world, it fulfills part of my purpose. So challenging people to think outside the box and to ask themselves different questions and discover why it is that they're stuck where they're stuck, or they're thinking how they're thinking, or how to even overcome those things, or where did those thoughts come from. That's what I love about it. I love challenging people and expanding people's vision per se, and their capacity to think differently outside of what they've just been told.
Last question for you. Someone's listening and they're in a down spot. They're listening for that inspiration. All right. And they've connected with your story and some of the things that you've been through in your life to kind of be where you're at. Talk to that person and let them know, what do you recommend that person do in the next couple of days, to really help get themselves going again, get that momentum back?
Oh, you know what it comes down to, Barton, is start with gratitude. If you're going to do something in the next couple of days, think about, here's what I want them to do. I want them to recite in their mind every single day 3 things they're grateful for and 3 things that they're extremely proud of. And then I want you to start reassociating and asking yourself questions about if it was one moment or one season or one circumstance that really brought you down. Think about how that situation, you're going to use that to strengthen you, because I want to reposition the power of problems in our life is they're really put there to grow you, and you've overcome hard things before and you can do it again. Think about 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things you're extremely proud of doing or being, and then something that you're going to do today to make it great, and just do that every day. Start there. Simple.
And I would add to that, don't do too much because it's not sustainable, right? We talk about burnout. We talk about, I'm going to go from 0 days to 5 days. I'm going to go from 0 miles to 3 miles a day in running.
Baby steps.
Little baby steps.
Baby steps that you can do every single day. Move your body.
Sarah Malone. Spark.
Sarah Spark Malone.
Sarah Spark Malone.
That should be my American Gladiator's name.
It's so important that trainers practice what they preach and lead from the front, and Sarah Sparks Malone does that 100%. She leads in so many ways, not just as a trainer, but as a podcast host. She does whatever she can to be a positive influence on the people, not just in her community, but because of virtual, everywhere in the country. Definitely engage with her on Instagram. Follow her. She's got great content that she puts out daily. Check out her podcast also. And put people like her in your life that are providing passionate, positive energy with results-based concepts. Last but not least, follow me on Instagram at Barton Guy Bryan and shoot me a DM. Give me some feedback on what you love most about the podcast and any guests that you might want me to interview down the road. Thanks so much for listening to the Mindset Forge podcast.